This video contains subject matter that may be offensive and disturbing to some people. If you are the type to require a warning throughout a video or show, let this message serve as your warning. This channel discusses the harsh reality of true crime. If this warning is not sufficient for you, consider a different genre and unsubscribe from my channel immediately.
Going on? There's the robot mode,
Just like the old days. Yep, just like the old days. Yeah. Yeah, tonight there's like 8 or 9. Some of them don't have very much information. One of them's from Indiana that somebody accepted. I think it was Jules.
Okay, I don't know if you guys saw this or not. So this first part here is politics, or related to politics. So if you don't want to listen, please turn down the volume for a couple minutes, okay? All right, I don't want to offend anybody. All right, so here we go. I don't know if you guys saw this out here, but look at this bill that passed. This is what people on the right are nervous about, okay? Listen to this. Nancy Pelosi's new future focus rules for Congress ban gender terms like father, mother, son, daughter. Nancy Pelosi introduced her new future focus rules for Congress that bans the gender terms like father, mother, son, daughter, and more. And this actually passed today, okay? On January 1st, the House Speaker unveiled her future focus proposal for the 117th Congress that contains banning of gendered terms such as mother and father. The rules will take effect upon approval once the Congress convenes. Pelosi said she desires to make the House of Representatives the most inclusive in history. How about you're not being inclusive? All right? A part of her 48-page proposal, House Rules says terms such as father, mother, son, daughter, brother, sister, uncle, aunt, first cousin, nephew, niece, husband, wife, father-in-law, mother-in-law, son-in-law, daughter-in-law, brother-in-law, sister-in-law, stepfather, stepmother, stepson, stepdaughter, stepbrother, stepsister, half-brother, half-sister, grandson, and granddaughter will be removed. Pelosi specified that the more inclusive terms such as parent, child, sibling, parent, sibling, first cousin, sibling, will be used instead. Well, you just said, I mean, but aren't any of you guys just sick of this shit? Okay?
Ridiculous.
Child-in-law. Oh, because you wouldn't want to say son-in-law. Okay. Yeah. Sibling, child, spouse, parent-in-law, child-in-law, sibling-in-law, step-parent. Oh, and by the way, you know when you say a prayer, thank you, Andrea Ruggiero Drum. She also became a Patreon. Thank you very much. I got to build that back up because that sort of helps out with the bonus part and actually my channel. Yeah, so listen to this. You know how people say amen? You know, like, amen. Did anybody ever sign a gender to that? Because apparently now they're saying, the guy, a pastor that spoke, I don't know where he was speaking, but it seemed like he was in Congress. He said, amen and a women. I mean, don't you find that just kind of ludicrous, you know, at some point? Right, that's right. It means agreed, but amen and a women, a person said. As if every time the word men is used in any word at all. You know, maybe men actually, men means mind, as in it's min, mon, men. Those are the morphemes that are used. I remember that from my linguistic class a long time ago, right? Like the word mensa, for example. Or what are they going to call it? Womensa? Yeah, no, the men in there means to think, or your mind. I can't remember the exact definition. But all right, so everybody, that's my political conversation for the day. I hope that didn't offend anybody. I hope everybody agrees with what I just said, that's ludicrous. Okay? It's ludicrous to ban those terms. Because then they're going to shame you. And remember the conversation we had a while ago, putting the P on there. This is part of that whole thing where you're going to be made to feel stupid by calling, oh yes, it's my grandson's birthday this weekend. How dare you say grandson? It should be grand sibling, you idiot. Okay? Right. All right, everybody. Thank you very much for allowing me to tell you that. Hopefully everybody in here that has a brain realizes how absolutely ridiculous it is. And by the way, that bill passed. So this article is from today. So yeah, if you don't believe me, just go look it up. Yeah, it's just it's unbelievable. Yeah, no, the whole thing. You know, like Title IX, you guys remember that, right? Gave women the right to compete and get the same funding in athletics. And that makes sense to me, you know. But then how do you put in where all of a sudden now the women's athletes might actually include people who are men that are assigning themselves as being a woman, right? So then it takes the money that would have actually gone to genetic females, and now it goes to, you know, maybe, you know, I don't really know how to word it. That's one of the things that I think is a big problem. All right. So there's all these things that are going on, and I just feel like it's going to be too hard to interact in society without taking classes on how to be and speak like a robot to fit into all these social norms. Right? Okay. Excellent. Good times, good times. Yeah. I feel sorry for women's athletics, to be honest with you, because of what's being forced down their throats, basically. It's just totally... It's ludicrous. Okay. Now, I'm all for women should be able to compete with men anytime that they're able to do so, right? So, you know, if you're a male, you never get to go down in direction. You always have to compete with males. I think a woman should always have the right, like if you're a good enough basketball player, and you really, you know, great little point guard, ding, 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 or, you know, hell, I don't care what size you are. If you can actually play against them without them laying off and not playing hard, and you literally can play, then you should get to play with them in sports, like even in high school. So I'm for that.
Thank you for that rant. Heart, heart, heart. I'm so sick of it.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Carolina, Carla. And by the way, for example, if there's women bowling teams and men's bowling teams, well, I mean, bowling's a game, right? So I think women are probably going to be just as good at bowling, or have the potential to be, anyways, right? So why can't they compete if they're good enough on the boys' bowling team in high school or college, right? So I'm all for that. Now, there are some events like gymnastics where there's not really a lot of crossover. I mean, I guess you have floor exercise, but the rings would be tough for a female, right? The rings were doing the T. Guys, for example, though, would struggle with some of the, maybe the, uneven bars or something. I think they would have a high-pitched voice when they were finished doing that one. Right before the dismount, when you kick into that lower one, wrap around, woo, oh, shit, So, yeah, balance beam, I could see being both ways, but there are some things, pommel horse would be tough. They both have the vault. Yeah. There's just some things that guys actually can't do physically, well, without actually destroying part of their body. And then there's some physical, that are pure strength. I mean, I don't know how. I'd like to see a woman do the, that T pose with the rings. I'm sure somebody can do it out there, but man, that's a brutal. Like, you have to have shoulders the size of your head, almost, to do that one. Yeah, but weightlifting should be gender specific, unless there's a woman out there in a specific weight class that can outlift a guy without any, enhancements of any. See, I'm all for that. Like, well, here's another one. If there's a woman out there that can run the 100-meter dash in 10 seconds flat, or 100-meter dash, 100. Well, I'm not sure. I'm saying dash. That's what we called it when we were kids. Can run the 100-meter in 10 seconds flat or better. They should be able to compete with the men in college. Okay, that might happen someday. There might be somebody that just has this, uncanny ability. Yeah. Right, so that's where I stand, everybody. I stand where if you're a genetic male, you should never be able to compete with females, but females and women that are transgender who, assign themselves as being men should always be able to compete with men. But then it gets a little dicey if they compete with women if they're taking hormones to become more masculine, right? So I think it should be that genetic females should basically only compete with other genetic females. And then anybody else should be able to move up to a higher level, including the females. Does that make sense? Okay. Awesome. And I think that's very, I actually think that's the way it should be. And I think, I really don't see anything wrong with that. Of course, there's people out there that probably think that that's, something's wrong with it. But I just don't see it. I've always believed that women should be able to compete with men if they actually are better than the men on the team. Or, or out, maybe they're not the best player on the team, but let's say they made the cut, right? Yeah, let's not say stuff like that, okay? B&B. Yeah, just. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna start off with a story out of Indiana. Okay, I think this is one that Jules sent me here, so I just got to get started. I don't know how long it's going to take to get through these, but they were just short enough. Some of them were, I thought, well, And I was able to find location information on, kind of on all of them. And what sucks is I spent some of them a couple hours trying to find some thread. You know what's weird is I actually realized the value of that one, the new genealogy type website that I'm using that has newspaper articles in there. Because it's really amazing. It has census records, it has these different things, and what you can do is find when somebody died, or if you can find an ancestor, you can see how you can go through, find their relatives, and then find when they got married, and then a lot of times their kids are listed in there, and you can kind of start building this tree out, right? So I thought that was kind of cool looking at it. I was even sort of noticing that when I was using newspapers.com in the obituaries. You get everybody's name. It's not a new one. It's the one that Colleen mentioned on the show. You'll have to go back and watch. All right, so this is the story of Sarah Jeanette Benson. And in the paper, no matter what site I was using, there's almost no information. A 51-year-old Farmersburg housewife was found shot to death Friday night as she apparently surprised a burglar in her home in this Sullivan County community. State police identified the victim as Sarah J. Benson. Investigators said her body was found by her husband when he returned home at 7 p.m. The husband, Emery, now here's the thing, it says E-M-E-R-Y there, but almost everywhere else that I saw it, it was E-M-O-R-Y. Notified police when he thought his wife had been kidnapped. He then found his wife's body in a spare bedroom. So he came home and he thought, wow, the husband, Emery, notified the police, but then he looked around the house more and then found her in a spare bedroom, one that they didn't really use, so he probably didn't think of looking there. Authorities said they thought she was shot with a small handgun. And then there's basically this article, not much more. A 51-year-old Farmersburg housewife was found shot to death Friday night, and state police said she apparently surprised a burglar. It's the same thing. It's even a little bit shorter. They said Emery Benson found a door pried open and items missing from the home, so that's different. He thought his wife had been kidnapped and notified authorities. Mrs. Benson's body was then found in a spare bedroom. Right now, so the thing is, I kind of went back in time. I found these other people like Donna Benson and Douglas Power will be married August 2nd at the home of Mrs. Emery Benson. One thing I do think sucks is you don't get to know women's names very often, because in the older days, newspapers, they always referred to the woman by just Mrs. and then the entire husband's name. It's ludicrous, right? Like, I'd rather have her name so I'd know if this is even the right person, but I think it is. Everything kind of matches, works out, age-wise. But notice right here it says Mrs. Emery Benson will marry, let's see, hold on. Will be married, and then it says Emery Benson, Route 1, the son of Mr. and Mrs. Dean Douglas, but let's see. At the home of Mrs. Emery Benson. Right? So, what's her name? In this story. But I think it's actually, it could be Sarah. And then there was another one, it looked like a similar thing. The wedding of Miss Donna Benson and Douglas Power will take place on August 2nd. She's the daughter of Mr. and Mrs. Emery Benson. And this is where I was looking at to try to find the address. So this is Rural Route 1, Farmersburg. And, Emery. So I ended up looking him up a different way. And it came out this address right here. There's another address that was kind of right over in this area that was also associated. But it seems like it's in the right area. It's kind of near Terre Haute. And there's Farmersburg. See, Farmersburg's right there. And if we go back to... See, and this is in Farmersburg. So I think that is... I mean, how many Emery Bensons are there going to be in a town called Farmersburg that's this big? Probably one. Okay. So one of the addresses was right here. And I don't know, we could go down to just take a look at what the area looks like in general, but it's really rural looking, you know. And there's no street view there. And then there was an article that came out, and that's why it was sent to me. This article came out today. Oh, you guys still in the high mode? I'll wait. I'll wait until you guys are all ready. We'll keep going. Because I just realized there wasn't one comment in the last 30 that had anything to do with this. Alright, it's been 40 years since a Farmersburg woman was killed in her home, and investigators with the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office and Indiana State Police continue to seek answers. On the evening of January 2nd, 1981, 51-year-old Sarah Jeanette Benson returned home from shopping in Terre Haute. And see, that all makes sense that this could be where they live, because Terre Haute's right here, and they lived in Farmersburg. And then I found this address for Emery Benson. On the evening of January 2nd, 51-year-old Sarah Jeanette Benson returned home from shopping in Terre Haute, Indiana, to be surprised by an intruder inside her home. Her husband, Emery, was at work in Terre Haute at the time, according to a news release issued today by Sullivan County Sheriff Clark Cotto. At the time of Benson's death, neighbors described seeing a blue four-door passenger car parked in the family driveway just prior to Benson returning home. One of the witnesses thought the vehicle was a Plymouth Valiant, describing it as robin egg blue. So robin egg blue is almost, almost like turquoise in a way. I mean, not turquoise. It's very sort of cool color blue. And look, that's about what this looks like right there. Robin egg blue. A second witness thought the vehicle was possibly a Chevrolet, describing it as having shiny blue paint. So it sounds like each of them saw a similar item. A third witness described the sedan as being very clean. One neighbor observed a white male near the home. The male, who was wearing a vest, was seen exiting the blue sedan before knocking on the Benson's front door. The male was described as tall and thin, possibly in his 20s at the time. Investigators believe the man was likely the intruder. Well, yeah, definitely sounds like it. Investigators exhausted many leads over the years, but have not been able to develop sufficient information for an arrest. Archived newspaper articles from the time made no mention of the description. Right, exactly. I just went over the archived newspaper. Made no mention of the description of the suspect or the blue sedan. Police remind the public that the killer would now likely be in his 50s. And I think, well, he'd be older than that. And he'd be, well, I guess you could say late 50s. I'd say 60, less than, maybe 65-ish. He'd have to be 20 when he pulled up. I mean, they do say possibly in his 20s. Police remind the public that the killer could be in his 50s. Anyone with information concerning Benson's murder should contact the Sullivan County Sheriff's Office at 812-268-4308. All right. So that's that case. What do you guys think about that one? Now you can do all the hellos and everything. Hey, there's Stacy up there. It's always, you know what would be crazy if Stacy and Lanky Tor were in here at the same time. The two nicest people in like social media history, really. So what do you guys think of that one? I mean, this one's just cold as hell, right? You can tell why, but it seems weird if you had that blue car and man, it's your birthday, Alicia? All right.
Happy birthday to Alicia. Happy birthday to Alicia. Happy birthday to Alicia. Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
Good job, Mary Lou. Yeah, Lanky Tor showed up late last night, right near the end. That's what made me think of it again. Well, why would he check the... I'm not... That doesn't make me confused at all. It was a spare bedroom. One that you would never really look at, you know? Like, they probably never go in there, and he just looked around, and he was like, God, where the hell is she? And then he panicked. Then he went, oh, shit, man. Maybe she's in that, you know. He looked everywhere where she would normally be. He probably just didn't think of it. I know. It's always easy to think maybe the husband did something. I mean, I had the same thought, but then I thought, well, it's just, you know, it's a spare bedroom. He wasn't thinking of looking in it. Every time I sing that, he seemed like he did check it right after, you know, he called and then he checked it. It seems like if to make, you know, that he made his story less plausible by doing the way
Every
it turned
time
out.
you do that, my little dog howls.
That's why it
Worth
seemed
every penny.
Oh, all right. Well, that's why it seems more like it really happened that way. Because why wouldn't he just say, "God, I came home and I found my wife in the room," and then he calls police to have them come over? Instead, he calls in and says she's missing, and then immediately calls back and says, "No, my God, I found her body in the spare room." There's no reason why he wouldn't have just made the story a lot more simple. To me, it seems legitimate the way it was. I thought they said that... let's see. At the time Benson's death, neighbors described... Let me go back to the original article here. Yeah, the husband Emery notified the police. Husband when he returned home at 7 p.m. The husband Emery notified police when he thought his wife had been kidnapped. So he goes, "Oh, my wife's been kidnapped. She's not around," and her car was there, right? So and he couldn't find her. Then he found his wife's body in a spare bedroom. Authorities said they thought she was shot with a small handgun. See, the thing is if he did do it, or even if he didn't do it, you know, the story that sounds better is to say, "Oh, I came home, looked in the room, and she was shot in the head. Hurry up, get over here." But instead he came up with this whole thing. Looks like she's been abducted, and then said, "Oh my God, no, she's in the bedroom." See, to me, that makes it seem more plausible because it's not scripted. It's just a total random moment in life, you know. That's my take on it. Anyways, could be anything. Well, you may have just taken her in there and shot her and then just went around the house looking for things you wanted to steal. Right. Okay, well, that is that story. Now we're going to move on to that was in Indiana. But it was in the newspaper today, so thought we'd go over it. Thanks, Lisa Miller. Okay, I'm going to watch now. Right now, how do you say your last name? Because every time I ask you, then I get going on the show and I don't see it.
Another enjoyable gathering of the freaks.
Yeah, it's never been solved. You'd think it would have been solved with that blue vehicle, and it's been 39 years, probably almost 40. Say I. Beimler. You say the I. Just say that. Just phonetically type it in. I don't even understand what you're typing in. Lisa. Okay, so Lisa Beimler. Is that right? Or Lisa Beimler? Or Beimler? Like that. Beimler? Is that the last one? Okay. Okay. Here's the two options. Beimler 1 or Beimler 2. Which one? Oh, so Beimler. Awesome. Well, thank you. All right, next story now. Here we go. This one is Anna. Now you guys might have to help out on the name on this one. It's spelled Hliares. I'm pretty sure the H is probably silent, maybe. Hliares. And this one's very short. Has almost nothing. Okay, but again, this is one that probably is never talked about and will never be talked about. So why not at least get her name out there again somehow? No, it's HL, not I. HLIA, and it's even right there. See it right here in the Anna, Hliares. Like Lyris. I bet you the H is silent. Oh, I don't know if they'd pronounce it like that. Let's try it. Let's do the thing online. Let's see. Pronounce.
Hliares. Hliares.
Hliares. So I guess they do. They're saying you pronounce it here, but I don't know if this is right. This is just some web thing. It's like Hliares.
Hliares.
I don't know. Yeah. So it's pronouncing it exactly in the order that you see it. Which makes it doesn't seem like that's legit. Let me try a YouTube pronunciation. Oops. No, that's gonna say hilarious. Yeah, forget it. Who knows? Anyways, that's her name. Okay, we'll call her Anna H. A 56-year-old Dayton woman was found strangled to death in her garage early yesterday morning. Anna Hliares of 903 West Grand Avenue was found about 2 a.m. Sunday in the garage at the rear of her house by her brother, a Montgomery County coroner's investigator said. The death has been ruled a homicide by strangulation and probably occurred late Thursday. So, and that's this house right here. It's pretty big. I'm sure there's a garage. I wonder if there's like a back street behind. No. The death has been ruled a homicide by strangulation and probably occurred late Thursday, the investigator said. According to the investigator, Hliares' brother, who lives in New Lebanon, went to his sister's home after becoming suspicious when she did not answer her phone. After finding the doors to the house locked, the brother investigated the garage where he found her body. Hliares apparently lived at the house with her sister, who usually was home only on the weekend. Police have no suspects in the case, a spokesman said yesterday. And guess what? That's it. That's her right there, though. There's a picture of her, and then let's see if this was murdered at her residence at 903 West Grand Avenue. Anna was very involved in the neighborhood association Crime Watch. That's interesting. So she was very involved in the Crime Watch for the neighborhood. Hey, thanks, Melissa Crone Carvel and a Megazoid. All right, thank you. I think that gives you 30% off on merchandise, too. Anna was very involved in the Neighborhood Association Crime Watch. If you have information about this case, please contact Miami Valley Crime Stoppers at 937-222-STOP or 1-800-637-5375. Isn't that insane? That's it. There was no more articles in 3 different archives. Well, no, it wasn't suicide. What are you talking about? It was ruled an unsolved homicide. She was strangled. So, since that was so short, what do you guys think of that? I mean, there's really nothing to go on. It's just, there's not even a piece of information other than, I mean, she was just found at home in her garage, strangled to death. And her doors were locked. I think that was mildly interesting. I mean, normally if you're going to go out to the garage, you're going to leave your door unlocked and then go to the garage and then come back. It's not like people go to their backyard, go to the garage, lock the door, go to the garage, then lock, I guess that's possible. Yeah. So, it sort of just shows you, like we were talking about, the media picks cases that sell, and then there's some people that just don't fit into that category. And like I said before, they place minorities in that category often. It was pretty amazing last night, that long story and well written and documented story. I think I might make that one into a Nefarious video. What do you guys think? That unsolved case of the mother and her child that were killed and dumped in the water. It has a really good timeline in the newspaper there. And there's images, and I think it could easily be done. Yeah. Okay. Because that's one that I think, at least if it's in a short form, can be shared more easily. Okay. Well, that's it. Sorry, guys, but that was all the information there was on Anna Hliares. Right, Jamie? Well, until you said that, Jamie. Until you said that. Here they come. Oh, wow, there's another... Yeah. All right, so the next one here is a case, Tammy Cain. And does it have a picture of her? No, there's no picture of her. There is a picture of her in an article, though. And she has that classic Ted Bundy look, you know, victim look. Yep. All right, so here it is. Tammy K, beloved daughter of Thomas and Catherine Cain. See, this is what's kind of cool is here, just in this little thing here, you could build a little tree. The daughter of Thomas and Catherine Cain. So then you could put her below that, and then it has her siblings and everything. And so that was just that quick little obituary, but then the article came out the same day. Police identified body as Carthage teen. The body found on Friday, this is Sunday, so there was probably an article in the paper on Saturday that said a body was found. The body found Friday on Grosbeck Road, near Gray Road, was identified Saturday as that of Tammy Cain, 17, of 6910 Rosewood Road. Okay, so I have... Alright, so here's her home, 6910 Rosewood Road. Now this is one of those weird homes. I don't know how people got to this house. I mean, it must have been, you know, you drove down the street and then on the side, you know, let's see. Yeah, like you come down right here and then you actually go around here on that little 2-lane gravel road there to get to this house. You know, I mean, it's definitely, there's no driveways or anything. It's pretty bizarre, really. I mean, they didn't make that for whoever lived there to be able to get right to it, right? So that's the home right there. And her body was found right in this area. Body found Friday. Okay, it says her mother, Catherine, said Saturday that Miss Cain had left their house around 6 or 7 Thursday to go with 2 friends to the Hamilton County Fair. When she didn't come home at 1 or 2 in the morning, Friday, which was her regular time to come home, I started to get real worried, Miss Cain said. The mother waited until late Friday night to file a missing persons report. So, you know, her daughter didn't come at 1 in the morning, and then she waited till 10 or 11 that same night or something like that. Saturday morning, she said, the police arrived at the house to tell her they had found her daughter. She was a pretty girl with long brown hair down to here, Mrs. Cain said, pointing to the small of her back. She was my baby, the youngest of 3 children, she said. Police said a man walking along Grosbeck Road found Miss Cain's body in a ditch in a secluded part of the roadside about noon Friday. The Hamilton County Coroner's Office had not determined a cause of death Saturday night. And now they ruled it a homicide now. The Hamilton County Coroner's Office has ruled the death of Tammy Cain, 17, of 6910 Rosewood Road, Carthage, a homicide. Detectives would not comment when asked how the victim was killed. Chief Deputy Hamilton County Coroner Dr. Paul Jolly also declined to comment about the cause of death. The girl's fully clothed body was found Friday in a ditch off Groesbeck Road near Gray Road. See, here's the thing. It says Groesbeck Road near Gray Road. So when you go here, I was getting kind of confused, but you can see that's Gray Road, right? Can you guys make out that little tiny gray right there? It's not going to get bigger, unfortunately, right? But then right here is the same road is now Groesbeck Road. So it's right there, Groesbeck Road, and you can even see it on the map, Groesbeck Road and Gray Road. So this is where I'm saying they said it was on Groesbeck Road near Gray Road. So right in this area must be where it switches. So I'm just putting her body here on Groesbeck Road near Gray Road. I mean, it's a little bit weird to have a road just change right in the middle. Does it say something? Like, now driving on... Yeah, look at that. We almost got the J vision, man. They shut the road down and everything. Yeah. So, shit. You know, I think it's right here. You know, I actually think this is where her body was put, in the ditch down there, because there's no ditch right there, and I think I have it marked that way. It's, well, close to there anyway. So I need to move it right on that corner, right as the switch happens. So like right there, maybe. Because that seems like a natural place, right? Like you'd be driving around, and then you just sort of throw her off to the side, down that ditch right there, where over here, there really isn't a ditch. It's a bank that goes up. Now, it doesn't say anything. We haven't mentioned anything about the fair yet. And if she made it, you know, she may have made it to the fair. I haven't. That's not been read yet. I don't read this stuff until I get all the things in order, and then I go through it at the same time, other than just some small locational information. Okay, the girl's fully clothed body was found Friday in a ditch off Groesbeck Road near Gray Road. The body was discovered by a man walking along the roadside about noon. The girl's mother, Catherine, told police Tammy left her home about 6 or 7 Thursday to go to the Hamilton County Fair with 2 friends. And that's her right there. Was found dead in College Hill, was strangled to death. So next day they did say she was strangled to death. Police said Monday. The victim of 6910 Rosewood Road, Carthage, was last seen alive between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. Friday in the, okay, now we can find that spot, the 7200 block. Wow. So even if she did go to the fair, they now have her alive. 7200 Vine Street, Carthage, Ohio. Okay. So that's interesting. She's getting close to home at this point. Let me rename this one. So she's very close to home. That's where she lives, right there. And 7200 block of, yeah, Vine Street right there. So she was seen alive right around in this area here. Yeah, she looks like one of, like Ted Bundy type victim, right? The dark hair parted in the middle. So the area doesn't look like it's changed much. You can just tell by the age of these homes here. You know, this is where she was last seen, just kind of walking around, I guess. And it might be, you know, her friends maybe have dropped her off. I mean, we don't know that yet. And she was just going to walk the rest of the way home. Because she only lives, let's see, distance-wise. That's, you know, a third of a mile, maybe a half mile walking. Pretty short. So she was last seen on the 7200 block of Vine Street, Carthage, within 4 blocks of her home, which is a little bit further than that, but said Homicide Squad Sergeant Thomas Oberschmidt. She was alone at the time. Wow. A passerby discovered her body fully clothed about noon Friday. So literally, I mean, she was seen at 3 a.m. and then 9 hours later, her body's found in a ditch. Anyone who saw Cain after 2 a.m. Friday is asked to call the homicide squad. Between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. I wonder how accurate this sighting is. I always get nervous when a lot of weight is put on something and we just don't even know if that, like the case from the other night, it was just the hell was that? Somebody, oh yeah, the one case where the person said that they saw them at home at 11 o'clock, but then all of a sudden you know, they went to the movie, you know, it was at 10:30, they were seen on this little private road, then they went to the movie, then they were seen over here, then they're, you know, the car was seen later pulling in. It was just got really wild, but if you could take some of that out, the stories make more sense. But the red herring effect. Okay, so here we go. Tammy Cain, 17. So here we go. This is going to explain this part here. Tammy Cain, 17, whose body was found in a ditch last Friday, had walked with 2 friends from the Hamilton County Fair to the 7200 block. Let's see if we can even see this. Okay, they usually have the Hamilton County Fairgrounds right there. And it's not far away at all, right there. So I was kind of thinking it was going to be close. Hamilton County Fairgrounds. So that makes sense. You know, you go to the fair and then they walk back. This is very similar to the, remember the story a month or 2 ago? I've brought it up a few times where the girl and the guy got in a fight and then she gets out of the car and then she's found dead the next day. And everybody thought, oh, it's the boyfriend. But what really happened was a absolute monster showed up out of nowhere. And that's, I think that's the same thing that happened right here. Morgan said the 2 friends told police they had accompanied Cain from Carthage Fairgrounds to the 7200 block of Vine when the girl told them she was only 4 blocks from her home, 6910 Rosewood Court, and would continue alone. Jeez. Morgan said that 2 friends last saw the girl between 2 and 2:30. So she was going to be home a little bit late, but not, you know, way late. Her body, fully clothed, was discovered about noon Friday in a ditch near Grosbeck and Gray Roads in College Hill. Police said Cain had been strangled and that there was no indication of sexual attack. And see, you know, maybe the guy tried to sexually attack her, or it's just one of those killer wackos that are out there that kill because they like to kill. You know, they don't have another reason. They love killing. You know, it's just sick. And that was it, actually, for that. There was no more information on here. This is all they had on that website here. Tammy Cain, 17 years of age, was killed at 900 Grosbeck Road. See how much more, I mean, if you just went off of this, you'd have nothing. We now have a full, this is one that I could make too as well. I mean, it'd be a short one, but it could be on those. Anytime you have something that's nicely laid out, it makes it more interesting. And there's time frames, and you've got, so she went to a fair, and she was supposed to be home. This was on Friday night. Or I guess it would have been Thursday night. And she was supposed to be home by, was it Thursday night? No, I gotta remember now. Jeez. I see. Last seen alive between Friday, 3 a.m. Friday. Okay. Yeah, so it was Thursday night. She goes to the fair with some friends, and then was supposed to be home around 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. Then she walks back with those friends and walks to this area. So obviously when they came from the fair, they probably came walking like this, and then down this way her friends peeled off, and she goes, well, I'll walk by myself. Definitely more than 4 blocks, a lot more than 4 blocks. And so she walked on her own home, and on that walk home, she obviously was abducted by an absolute monster, and then her body was then driven over here. She was murdered by strangulation, and her body was dumped right here on the side of the road for some unknown reason. And there isn't a reason when serial killers do it. Are you guys still there? So what do you guys think? I think it's just another one of those random opportunistic killers. He may have even followed them as they walked home from the fair. I think that kind of makes sense. He could have been somebody at the fair, and he noticed the girls walking together, and then kind of followed from a distance, and then saw 2 of his friends peel off, and at that moment knew that the one friend, the victim, Tammy, was on her own at that point, and then he made his move. I think he probably, in this case, the fair is a hunting ground. This is the bridge, the Monon High Bridge is this, and the trail is what this was, the fairground. And he waited, probably standing around here waiting for people to walk. And when he saw people that continued to walk that were girls that fit what he was looking for, he then followed them. And then the other 2 girls kept walking, and she went on her own. And at that moment is when he, maybe followed a little bit more. And then in a certain location that looked like there wasn't as many people around. I don't know what it looked like back there in 1994, but I figured it would still look like it was just as dense. A lot of older homes there. Okay, well, that's it for the Tammy Cain story. And she wasn't sexually, and it's going to sound weird, but unfortunately she wasn't sexually assaulted. And I say that because had she been in 1981, they most likely would have done a rape kit and possibly still had that DNA today, when now they're just going to be looking at touch DNA or something like that. Maybe they got something on her fingernails or something like that. It's weird, isn't it? It's a stupid thing to have to, you say it in your mind, you realize that how careless killers were from like 85, even 1990 prior, because there was no such thing as DNA that was really known out there. And, whenever you hear that they were sexually assaulted, you go, hey, was there a DNA kit? And then you think of genealogy, right? So when they're not sexually assaulted and they're murdered, I guess if they were going to be murdered anyways, the investigations helped out dramatically if there is a sexual assault of some sort. It's kind of a weird thought, but it's the reality of it. All right, you guys ready for the next one? Now, this is the shortest one I've ever seen, but I literally spent 2 hours on it trying to find some sort of an angle, but there's absolutely nothing. And yet I'm still going to bring the name up. So this is Michelle Ann Hoffman. Michelle A. Hoffman. Now, I did find this one piqued my interest because it was in the same year, 1981, in the same area. And it says Michelle A. Hoffman, divorce dismissed. So somebody that maybe she was going to get a divorce from, and they decided not to. Is that what you guys get from that as well? Thanks, Gwen Jackson. And so then you think, okay, well, it might have been some rocky... And she's only 19 years old, okay? And that's actually her right there. And then this one actually has some written information. The last time that anyone heard from Michelle Hoffman was on September 1st, 1981. On September 15th, 1981, she was reported missing. Her body was found in a wooded area. Well, here, let me do this. So I did find as much as I could on it. All right, so her body was found in this park, in a wooded area at the back of this park right here. And this is in the town of Toledo, Ohio. She was reported missing. Her body was found in a wooded area at the rear of Mulberry Park by a man hunting rabbits on September 17th. I mean, my God, somebody's hunting rabbits in this park. And hunters are always finding bodies. I mean, what are the odds that a hunter found a body in that park? And even in 1994, it looked the same. So, the cause of death was determined to be a blunt force injury to the head. The coroner estimated that the date of death to be on or about September 2nd. All right, so I did find some other... Okay, Ricky Hoffman was the Michelle Hoffman. Okay, the Michelle A. Hoffman in that one article, this one. There's a Ricky was his name. So his name was Ricky Hoffman. I think it was Ricky O. Hoffman. I found one that matched, he's about 60 right now. So that would have made him 20. She was 19. Then I found a place where he lived at the time, and it was right here. So that's close in that town. And that was where his address was in 1979. So I found that. And then there was a Ricky D. Hoffman, but I don't think that was him. Way over here. I think it was the Ricky O. Hoffman. Anyways, that's all I could find on it. I mean, there's zero information on any of the archive, and either there or online. Isn't that ridiculous? So anyways, Ricky Hoffman lived right there, and then she's found right there. And I wonder if the police were a little bit interested if that was the same Michelle A. Hoffman that reversed a divorce. Were they having like these really severe problems and then something happened? Because she wasn't sexually assaulted, she was just bashed in the head. That sounds like an abuse possibility more so. So I guess just from finding that one little notification, there is a possibility there, just from that one little notification. It's the only theory that I can even develop at this point. Could mean absolutely nothing. Oops, let me get the music going again. God, you know how many people keep sending me this idiotic Delphi video of this guy claiming he's the Delphi, and in the video it says, please subscribe. I mean, are you guys that big of suckers? And the reason you're sending it to me is because you think it's possibly real. You're not sending it to me just to get me to... Okay, just don't be a sucker. As soon as you watch it, just type something in and say this is stupid and never share it with anybody again. Okay? Alright. And by the way, everybody, we are still raising funds for each month, the same as always. We're right now at about 1/8 of a normal night. And like I said, I spent almost the whole day getting all these things together, trying to get a show for you guys. All right. Sucks to have to bring that up. All right, here we go. I'm going to move on to the next story now. We've got the Robin M Durrer, D-U-R-R-E-R, Durrer. Almost sounds like I'm saying, duh, you know. Durr, no Durr. And that's her right there. Friendly daughter's killing stuns father. His daughter's friendliness may have led led to her slaying the father of a Hamilton Township high school special education student, speculated Thursday night. Thanks, Lane S. But Franklin County Sheriff detectives say they have no clues in the killing. Only a few hours after he found the partially nude body of 19-year-old Robin Durrer in a heavily wooded area about 300 yards from the family's residence, Donald Durrer, 43, said on his front porch at 4850, so I was able to find the address, Reese Road, and talked of his dead daughter. So she lives right here. And this is Columbus, Ohio. And her home is right there. Looks like almost, I don't know what it looked like back then, but it looks like basically a junkyard, to be honest with you. At this time. Let me go back to 1994. Yep, it was still something similar in 1994. And it looks like there was a little bit of like a miniature racetrack right there too. And that's not there anymore. But you can see the remnants of it still right there. Thank you, Linda Howell, as in Linda Moldenhow of the Cattle Mutilations. Yeah, I don't give a shit what it is, Bantry. Don't post it on my channel, okay? Thanks. It's stupid crap. It's a complete waste of time. The Delphi case right now has been taken over by a bunch of idiots, okay? Unfortunately, they are filling a void of their sick minds where that's the only thing they care about, so they need something, all right? She wasn't no stranger around here. Everybody knew her. She was a good Christian girl. Went to church every Sunday, and the man wearing work clothing and slumped in a lawn chair, said the man, so her father. Mr. Durrer is an operator at Columbus Dublin Road Water Treatment Plant. Ms. Durrer is also survived by her mother, Rachel, a sister, Rhonda, 22, and a brother, Ronnie, 5. Yeah, we say that every time, Justin, but, let's just focus. Let's move on, okay? Mr. Durrer is an operator at Columbus Dublin Road. Okay, so funeral arrangements are incomplete pending the results of an autopsy. She was a great talker and loved the old people. It didn't matter if they were crippled or ugly. She'd take them by the hand and tell them she loved them. The Reverend Dennis Wolfeat, pastor of the Roar Road Baptist Church that is attended by the Durrer, echoed the father's opinion. Sheriff detectives pointed out the murder occurred in a wooded area, which is frequently the scene of drug transaction and often is a location where stolen items and vehicles are recovered. Hey, thanks, Ellen Vaughn. See, you knew that Justin Bang Wang, whatever the hell his name was, a troll from the get-go. See, I already knew that just based on his comment. No, it's, you know what it is, Justin? You might call it that, but that's almost what I have to do now, because now I have sort of obligations to help fund DNA research. So now I'm even more pressed to raise funds every month. Because I can't really just sort of be taking it out of my own pockets all the time. I'm doing the show to provide a service, to raise funds, to donate to charity, and hopefully to the DNA investigations that we want to do with Colleen Fitzpatrick. Okay? And I don't know how any other way to do it. Okay? That's just the way it is. You have to mention it every once in a while, or people, they just get carried away watching the show and forget. All right, Justin. So go bang your wang somewhere else, okay, you idiot. All right. The Reverend Dennis Wolfeat, pastor of the Roar Road Baptist Church that is attended by the Durrers, echoed the father's opinion. Sheriff detectives pointed out the murder occurred in a wooded area, which frequently is seen by a drug transaction and often is a location where stolen items and vehicles are recovered. Miss Durrer apparently was beaten to death, Sheriff Detective Ed Moore said. Her father discovered the body clad only in a blouse and socks about 8 p.m. Thursday. Man, her father found her. Man, that sucks. A pair of slacks and panties were lying about 20 feet away, and the detective said the young woman may have been sexually assaulted. Well, hopefully you guys did your job and got the DNA. Detectives said Miss Durrer was beaten about the head, possibly with the tree limb. She apparently, she appeared to have been dead 12 to 18 hours. Authorities said no murder weapon had been found, so she was dead for 12 to 18 before her dad found her. Miss Durr's yellow and brown 10-speed bicycle was parked nearby. Moore said there was evidence of a struggle. Mr. Durrer said he could not locate his daughter about 9 p.m. Wednesday after he and other members of his family returned home from church services. After he searched for the young woman, deputies said Mr. Durrer reported his daughter missing about 11 p.m. Wednesday. Mr. Durrer called the sheriff department again Thursday. He called in tonight and said, "Could you send a cruiser down? I found my daughter." The deputy said he called back about half hour later and said, "Could you send a cruiser? She's dead." Mr. Durrer did not know where his daughter was before the killing and noted that she usually stayed close to home. She liked to ride her bike, but she usually rode up and down the road in front of the house where I could see her. It's hard to believe she just would take off like that. The girl was last seen about 7:30 p.m. Wednesday in a small grocery in the village of Reese, about 400 yards from the death scene. Really? Let's see. 400, quarter mile. Where's Reese? No, it's that little town right there. So she was at a grocery store in there. I have her being found right here. There's actually a road here. Apparently it goes underneath the railroad tracks. So she was just found around in this area here. Miss Durrer's body was lying about 700 feet south of Rethmel Road, just east of Reese Road. Okay, let me see. Okay, so I gotta keep going further south. So it said, let me get the exact address again. 700 feet south of Rathmill Road, just east of Reese Road. Okay, there's Reese Road. So maybe let me do the 700 feet. Actually, I know a good way to do this. Okay, that's 700 feet right there. And then, so maybe like right around in there. That kind of makes a little bit more sense, too. It's weird because, well, that's, wait, hold on a second. Jeez. So that's right, really close to her house. Miss Durrer's body was lying about 700 feet south of Rathmel Road. Yep, there it is. Just east of Reese Road. So, yeah. I mean, she's right next to the home. She's probably found, you know, I would imagine she wasn't found right there, but maybe like in here somewhere, maybe. But that's right next to her house. That's crazy. Alright, Franklin County Sheriff deputies are still without a clue in the sexual assault and bludgeoning death of 19-year-old Robin Durrer, whose nude body, well, now they're saying nude body, but it was partially, Thursday night in a wooded east side area. The county coroner's office ruled Friday that the young woman had been assaulted and that she had died from a blow to the head with a large tree branch. So the person used something that was available on the scene. Miss Durrer had been reported missing since about 7:30 p.m. Wednesday when she rode her bicycle to a nearby carryout store. Her father found the 10-speed bicycle and his daughter partially nude body near railroad tracks close to the store. Yeah, okay, so she found her bike here near a store, but then she was over here. Man, it would have been cool if they'd given out the damn addresses. The father of 19-year-old woman, this is in the using that other service, so I was able to find. Okay. The father of a 19-year-old woman whose body was found Thursday night believes her daughter was lured to the wooded area where she was killed. The partially clad body of Robin Durrer, 19, of 4850 Reese Road, was found by her father, Ronald Durrer, in a heavily wooded area about 300 yards from their home. Franklin County Sheriff detectives said Miss Durrer was beaten about the head with a large tree limb. She reportedly was sexually assaulted. Her body was clad only in a blouse and socks. I'm still trying to figure out how it could have happened, Mr. Durrer said. She knew she wasn't supposed to leave the house without permission. The girl was last seen about 7:30 p.m. Wednesday at the B&C Market at 2050 Rathmill Road. Okay, there we go. So there's the market. That's where her 10-speed was. So it's almost like somebody over there B and C Market. Okay. She had a place she had gone many times to pick up groceries. To get home from the market, she rode past the wooded area and was probably lured, yeah, like right here, like this. Yep, I mean that's how she would have gone. I mean we could do the trip here. So this, I guess apparently that was a market at one time. It looks more like a house now. Let's see. Yeah, I'm almost wondering if there used to be something right there. Let me see. 94. Well, anyways, this is how she would have got home. She would have headed down this way like this. Yeah, or maybe the oxygen tank or the GoPro camera, Gene. I think somebody 19 years old wouldn't fall for the puppy trick, you know. All right, so around the corner here, and then there's apparently, you know, you go around here and then there's maybe some wooded area. I'm sure it was more wooded at that time, although some of this looks like it's been this way. But maybe around in this area something happened. But her bike was apparently near the store, he said, remember? To get home from the market, she rode past the wooded area and was probably lured into the woods, Mr. Durrer said. Miss Durrer's 10-speed bicycle was found parked near her body. Okay, now you're saying it wasn't at the store, it was near her body. Ms. Durrer was a special education student at Hamilton Township High School. Her father said she was a slow learner and wasn't as mature. Oh, there you go. So maybe the puppy thing was you. Slow learner and wasn't as mature as an average 19-year-old. Because she was a slow learner, she was not allowed to date, he said. We always kept a close watch on her, he said. We were afraid someone might try to take advantage of her. He said his daughter knew not to go into the wooded area and theorized that someone either persuaded or forced her to go. I'm sure she didn't go in there on her own, he said. Ms. Durrer's funeral will be held at 1 p.m. Monday at the Cook and Son Funeral Home. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that's the wooded area right there. All right, Zozo. I'll take something, anything. Yeah. It's always the dollar, the 99 center. Well, shoot, I have retracted. What did you retract? I don't even know what you retracted. Yeah, who knows, Gene? But would the killer know that, maybe? Unless she knew the guy? She could have been all kinds of things. Yeah, who knows? Well, all it was is she likely was lured, and then she was beaten in the head and then sexually assaulted. I bet you she was... I bet the person hit her in the head first. Just, I don't know, it just feels like that. I don't think she... Robin M Durrer, 19, was last seen on the evening of September 9th, 1981. Robin had been riding her bicycle near her home in the village of Reese in southern Franklin County. She failed to return home, and a missing persons report was filed on September 10th, 1981. Her body was found along the C&O Railroad off the Rathmill Road in the village of Reese. Robin had been sexually assaulted and died from blunt force trauma to the head and neck. Investigators are attempting to locate anyone who had contact with Robin before her death or who may have information regarding the murder. Yeah, just, you know, it's just similar to the last one. There's just monsters out there just waiting for somebody, you know? It's crazy. Thank you, Maureen Co. Well, that's it on that story. So that was story number 5. And now we're moving on to the next one. Well, before we move on, what do you guys think most likely in that one? It sounds like they were saying that people would do drugs back there. You know, some opportunist, somebody on drugs maybe. Yeah, the dad said she usually rides up and down the street right here, basically, on her bike, and you can keep an eye on her. But then, you know, and every once in a while she'd go to this store over here. And on this time, I mean, look how ridiculous this is, though, right? Thanks, Ellen Vaughn. Yeah, I appreciate it. Well, don't you think this, I mean, just look at how, you know, there's monsters just right there. I mean, we're looking at a situation where, you know, they live right here. She usually rides her bike here. Then she just goes on this little tiny short little bike trip here. Let's just see how far that is.
Thank you for all you do.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's not even a half mile. Okay. It's insane. So here it is, just this little short half-mile drive on a bike to this store here. And then somewhere, just in that little distance back, some monster grabs her, beats her in the head and kills her and sexually assaults her. And I think it's in that order. I think this person sexually assaulted her after he killed her. That's my opinion. And it's just crazy. So close to home, you know? It's unreal. And the way they described it, it sounds like she was right in this area. So the person must have... I mean, it's weird that she was found so close to her home. I mean, I wonder if that was described incorrectly. Because I originally had her right around in this area, which made more sense. Thank you, one Sly Angel.
Thanks for bringing light to these cases.
Yeah, well, it's kind of shocking that there's so many of them. I mean, I guess it's not really that shocking. What's weird is just doing them, and then you realize, wow, there are so many. And so many, these are all in the same year, by the way, in the same state. So, 1981 again, this is September, or that last one was not September, hold on. The last one was, it was September 10th. Are you guys still here? Hold on, I have to get everything set up again. This happened the last time. Yeah, my whole screen just went like that, so you have to wait a second. So that's why I like the way they got it set up now. You don't have to start over again. I just rejoined the same stream. Gotta get things set up again now. Wow, we only got 80 people watching. Man, that sucks. Jesus. It just kind of went off. All my screens went dark. It did that before a while ago. I might need to update my graphics driver or something like that. But who knows? Okay, I think I've got. If that purple path is still there, that wasn't there, but everything else was, so that was pretty good. Didn't lose much. Okay, well, hey, we're back. All right, yay. All right, next one is Kimberly Sue King. All right. And this one's short. And I don't know why it's short, but it is. So I think she just lived here. I don't know if this was an apartment or what was going on there. Anyways, hold on a second. You guys can't see it. Alright, let me go back to that last screen. I wonder if I have to reset the chat window. Yeah, I don't know. It's not there right now. Are you guys still chatting, or everybody type some stuff in really quick? Okay, now I can see it over there. Okay. I mean, usually I can see all of it, even if it's up there, but. Alright. The nude woman found dead Tuesday north of Germantown has been identified as Kimberly Sue King, 19, of Harrison Township. A spokesman for the Montgomery County Coroner's Office said today. Investigators said her last known address was listed as 212. You can see it. 212 Northwood Avenue. Her body was found by a passerby in a wooded area off South Diamond Mill Road. So her body was found. Well, let me go back to. Sorry, that was hard to tell. So that's just the distance right there. All right, so right there, I think it was right over here. So way in the background there is where she was found. And I didn't have, there wasn't a specific location on this road here. Shit. And it looked like the road's a different name, just like we've seen before, if I remember right. Like this name here, it was just there. Hold on. Okay, this is South Diamond Road there. And then it becomes Diamond Road here. So she was found on South Diamond Road, and then it becomes Diamond Road, right at this Highway 35, or Main Street right there. The coroner's office was to conduct an autopsy. The death is being investigated by Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, and there was no suspects. And the next article, just as short, nothing. Woman's body identified. The nude body found just north of Germantown today has been identified as 19-year-old Harrison Township woman Kimberly S. King. The body was found about 1 p.m. Tuesday along South Diamond Road by an area resident. There were no suspects in the case last night, the sheriff's department said. So, sadly, that story probably had the least, even anything that you could look up. I mean, we don't even know what she, well, let me see. What does she look like even? I mean, it's just ridiculous. Let me open up this website really fast and see if they had. Oh, you know, I think she was actually, well, hold on, let me check. Kimberly Sue King. There it is. Yeah, so this is all there was, I think. Kimberly Sue King. And this is all, see, this is all I have to work with to start with. And this is one of the ones that had nothing else even then. So she was female, white, 19-year-old Kimberly Sue King was found in a wooded area that was known as Delmer Lakes near South Diamond Mill Road. Well, let's see, is that it's still there? Delmar Lakes. No. I mean, hell, it could be way out here if this is still. Well, it's Diamond Mill Road there. But it's only South Diamond Mill Road right around in this stretch right here. Although right there it says Diamond Mill Road again. So. Thanks, Zozo. What is that thing? Did I get a gold star? Or is that a white star and a gold coin? So, unfortunately, everybody, that's it. I don't even have a theory on that one. There's not even, like, who is she? Right? There wasn't any information on her in, let's see, murder of Kimberly Sue King. Yeah, and so unfortunately there's other people named Kimberly King that have been murdered. You know, Kimberly Alice King is a murder victim, for example. So that one was brutal. And I do spend a lot of time on each one of these trying to find something, and there was nothing. But her name got put out there again. Sorry I couldn't find more. I gave it a shot. Alright, now the next one is Anna Stewart. Yeah, there was no news articles. There's nothing online, really. There's probably something out there somewhere. But there was just no information on who she was or anything. What are the circumstances? What, Alright, the next one is Anna Stewart. There's no image here, but I think I have an image of her in... No, there wasn't an image of her. So Anna Stewart, missing over the Rhine, woman sought. Cincinnati police are looking for a 33-year-old over the Rhine woman who disappeared on October 6th, 1981. Right. Police said Anna Stewart of 1627 Walnut Street right here. So it looks like a kind of a apartment building. Was reported missing by a former boyfriend on October 11th. He told police the woman sent her 3 sons to school the morning of October 6th and was seen later in the day in an automobile believed to be a bootleg cab. So she was seen later in the day in a cab, apparently. Thanks, Linda Howell, as in Linda Moldenhow of the Cattle Mutilations and Crop Circles.
Cow, copyright, ox, corn, alien, good night. Thanks, Gray. Love you all.
Now, it's not copyright, it's a attempt at a crop circle. And then the corn is the, sort of like being on a farm, where the crop circle would be made in a cornfield. And then an alien and the cattle. So it's perfect. Absolutely perfect. Good night, Lisa Beimler. Yeah, it said her at that time. Body and field identified as Cincinnati mother of 3. And so this is a black woman, and they at least had 3 articles, okay? Better than the last case there. A black woman found dead Monday in a field off Hoover Road has been identified as Anna Stewart, 33, of Cincinnati. Stewart, who was strangled, had been listed as a missing person by the Cincinnati police since Sunday. Another strangled victim. Strangulation. Officer Linda Day of Cincinnati Youth Aid Section, which I always think of, strangulation is always a whole different deal to me. It's, something, quite different to me. It's interesting how you get strangled and stabbed go together often. Both very personal type ways to kill somebody. So you've got strangulation and stabbing. Shooting, a lot of times when it's a shooting, I don't like to even cover it that much because it just seems, anybody can just pull the trigger. But strangulation and stabbing, there's a whole nother level of sort of depravity and personal nature to it. So it always makes me feel like there's something else going on there. The identification was made from a sketch released by Grove City Police after local authorities were unable to identify the woman. They said Stewart and another woman went to Kroger's store. Right, so apparently the Kroger store was a couple blocks from this building at one point. The Kroger's now is down over here. But again, that could have been the Kroger's. You know, they say, oh, 4 blocks, and it's really 10, you know. So anyways, they went to a Kroger's. They said Stewart and another woman went to a Kroger store about 2 blocks from her home on October 6th. The other woman told police an unidentified man gave the two a ride back from the store. They said the woman told police the man dropped her off and left with Stewart in the car. Stewart's 3 children last saw her, Day said, at 8 a.m. October 6th when they left for school. God, so, man, this lady saw exactly what the guy looked like, right? I mean, the body of 33-year-old over-the-Rhine woman has been missing since October 6th, was found Monday in Grove City, a suburb of Columbus. The victim, Anna Stewart, of 1627 Walnut Street, was found in a field behind a condominium complex. Grove City police said they believe she may have been strangled. Stewart was reported missing Sunday by a former boyfriend who told police she was last seen getting into a cab near her home. But it sounds like it was... Well, I mean, I don't know, that story doesn't match anything that the other girl said. The friend said that they went to Kroger's, came back with a guy. I mean, how does this guy know that he saw her getting into a cab? Yeah, that makes you a little bit suspicious of him. First of all, he's an ex-boyfriend. And then why is he mentioning the... Oh, yeah, she got into a cab, sort of taking it off of some... I don't know, but wouldn't her friend recognize him? So it's just kind of dodgy. It's so different than the other story. Cincinnati police, who had conducted a search for Stewart... I mean, it's possible that guy dropped her off after they went to Kroger's, and then she went and got a cab later. Cincinnati police, who had conducted a search for Stewart, went to Grove City. So they actually heard of a body being found there, and then went there on a wild hunch. And when they learned of the then unidentified woman's body, and said... Edwards said police have found nothing that links Stewart to Grove City. Stewart's former boyfriend, Earl Edwards, said, so this is the guy, said she had been carrying about $200. She'd been carrying about $200 a day, or a day or two before she disappeared. Well, how would you know that? She was last seen getting into a brown automobile believed to be a bootleg cab at 4:30 to 5 p.m. October 6th at the Kroger store in Vine Street over the Rhine. Okay, so maybe... Wait. God, let me go back to the other story here. They said Stewart and another woman went to Kroger's about 2 blocks from her home on October 6th. The other woman told police an unidentified man gave the two a ride back. Well, was that the cab driver? They said the woman told police the man dropped her off and left with Stewart. And then now we got this... Man, that's just totally confusing. A neighbor who asked not to be identified... Okay, and then Stewart's former boyfriend, Earl Edwards, said she had been carrying $200 a day or two before she disappeared. She was last seen getting into a brown automobile believed to be a bootleg cab at 4:50 p.m. October 6th at the Kroger store. So that sounds like the same incident. You know, on Vine Street. A neighbor who asked not to be identified said she saw Stewart get into the vehicle. Well, where's the other woman, though? The friend. Get into the vehicle and heard her tell the driver she had to go away out of town. The woman said she didn't hear the name of the town. Stewart's 3 sons, aged 12, 11, and 9, have been staying with Edwards in his over-the-Rhine apartment. Wait, hold on. Staying with Edwards in his. Is that the boyfriend's name? Stewart. Unidentified woman's body, said Lieutenant Edwards of the youth. Oh, so he stayed with the kids were staying with Lieutenant Edwards? Hold on. Shit. This is confusing. The victim, Anna Stewart, 1620. The bot's not helping at all, so don't worry about it. The victim, Anna Stewart, 1627 Walnut Street, was found in a field behind a condominium complex. Grove City police say they believe she may have been strangled. Stewart was reported missing Sunday by a former boyfriend who told police she was last seen getting into a cab near her home. Cincinnati police, who had conducted a search for Stewart, went to Grove City on a wild hunch when they learned of the then identified woman's body, said Lieutenant John Edwards of the Youth Aid Section. Edwards said police have found nothing that links Stewart to Grove City. Stewart's former boyfriend, Earl Edwards, there you go, said, so a former boyfriend, so is he the father too, though? So she had been caring about, there's 2 Edwards in this story. That's what made it confusing. She last seen getting into a brown automobile believed to be a bootleg cab at 4:30. This whole part doesn't make any sense. Doesn't fit the other story. A neighbor who asked not to be identified said she saw Stewart get into the vehicle and heard her tell the driver she had to go away out of town. The woman said she didn't hear the name of the town. Stewart's 3 sons, ages 12, 11, and 9, have been staying with Edwards, the boyfriend, in his over-the-Rhine apartment since their mother disappeared. Grove City police said they believe Stewart had been murdered somewhere else and had been dead 24 to 36 hours. I know, you told me that, Zozo. The bot's not working, okay? It doesn't affect, it doesn't, you're just wasting your time putting it in there. Maybe on another day or something. 24 to 36 hours before she was found, tests were being performed to determine if she had been assaulted. The body was fully clothed. Police found no purse or identification. There was no indication whether she had been robbed, they said. That's a weird one. Strange story. And there's no picture of her, and this doesn't have hardly any information. The deceased body of a female, later determined to be Anna Stewart, was found in a field near Queen Anne Place, Grove City, Ohio. So I did find that location. It said it was on Hoover Road over here. So it was way over near this other town, kind of over here somewhere. Didn't have the specific location. After an autopsy, the death was ruled a homicide. That's a weird one, but it's strange that you have such totally different stories. You have a lady literally saying, oh yeah, we went over to Kroger's, got a ride from some guy, and then they dropped me off, and then she left with that person. Well, that doesn't make it a cab at that point, right? Yeah. And then now the boyfriend has the 3 kids over at his house. I wonder what happened to those kids. Yeah. It's brutal. All right, try the bot now, okay? It took a minute to get it going. I mean, I know it's fun. Yep, there you go. Well, I hope somebody, if he's not the father, I hope somebody else raised them. I don't know who this why is an ex-boyfriend so involved? I think it's weird that an ex-boyfriend knows that she was just carrying around $200, came up with an alternate story that the friend had, and now he's also has the 3 kids in his house. All right. Well, I'm going to take a quick break right now, and I put myself in prison for you guys to get going on the next 3 or 4 stories. All right. We've got 1, 2, 3 more. One of them's longer, though. Poor Gray. You know, he's so put upon. Here we go. I'm gonna do the your rap music while I go get myself something to drink. You might believe that, Gene, but you have no way of knowing. Let's see. It's about $5. And looks like some bales. Oh, get out of there. Weird. Oh, thanks. Thanks, one sly angel. I like that name.
Freedom.
All right. Now we're moving on. Thank you. I've got freedom. All right. So this is a guy named Kurt Sova. And these were all on that news service that I have. I forgot what it's called specifically. It's the one that Colleen mentioned, though. I think I had to pay like $70 for the year, something like that. Anyways, a teenager is found dead in Newburgh Heights. The body of... Let me turn this down a little bit. The body of Kurt Sova, 17, of 6519 Hosmer Avenue. And that's right here. I think it's this one. Yeah. I just wanted to see if that was the same damn car, but it wasn't. So that's where he lives. His body was found last night in Newburgh Heights. The boy had been missing since Friday. Sova's father, Kenneth A. Sova, said his son was last seen about 9:30 p.m. at a party about 4 blocks from where the body was found, in a rocky area about 3/4 of a mile behind a furniture warehouse in the 3200 block of Harvard Avenue. So, 3200 Harvard Avenue is here. Another, that kind of looks like that could have been a furniture warehouse, maybe. Although it looks more like a warehouse. And then there was another address given that was 3401 Harvard Avenue. So let me try that. 3401 Harvard Avenue. Yeah, so I bet you... Oh, that's it. White Dove mattress. So that is the warehouse. Okay. It's strange because that's 3400, and then... So I'm going to move this over to here for now. And I didn't even zoom in on that. That's a huge warehouse. I mean, look at that thing. But yes, White Dove mattress. So that's going to be it. Kenneth Sova said police suspected foul play. The coroner's office will rule on the cause of death. Kurt, the youngest of 4 sons, was an 11th grader at South High School. Yep, and now this is still in the other news source. Newburgh Heights police are awaiting a coroner's ruling on the death of Kurt Sova, 17. His body was found Wednesday afternoon by 3 boys in a landfill off 3201 Harvard Avenue. Well, let's see where that is. Now that says 30. I thought it was 34, but... Okay, well, that's the same. It's definitely a warehouse right there, so... We'll go with that. Police and the coroner's office said there were no signs of violence, but so far they have been unable to determine the cause of death. The boy disappeared Friday night, Kurt, 6519 Hosmer Avenue, had joined friends that evening at an apartment on Harvard, more than a mile from where his body was found. So I would imagine the apartment was over here somewhere. And then his body was found somewhere around in this area. Police Chief James Lucas said a friend told police he had taken the body outside the apartment after Kurt became... Wait, not the boy, excuse me, I was saying the body, jeez. Police Chief James Lucas said a friend told police... Oh yeah, let me read this first part up here though. Friend said Kurt was drinking 190 proof alcohol. That's basically like taking rubbing alcohol and just guzzling it, Police Chief James Lucas said a friend told police he had taken the boy outside the apartment after Kurt became sick. The friend said he went inside to get Kurt's coat. Sounds like almost like the Kanika Jenkins scenario. When he returned, he said Kurt was gone. They had to go into the room to get his keys and all that. But when you're drunk, the guy went in the house, probably talked for a while, figured Kurt was outside, passed out. Kurt's body was found amid puddles and trash about a mile back from Harvard, police said. So a mile back. So what do you mean by a mile back? I wonder if that's the landfill. Does that look like a landfill there? It does kind of look like one, doesn't it? Let's see what a mile looks like here. There's the warehouse. You go straight back. And then that's a mile right there. Yeah, it definitely looks like a landfill, doesn't it? Pretty weird looking, really. So maybe over here then? It's not really that far from where he lived. He lived over here. The boy's parents, Kenneth and Dorothy, reported Kurt missing to Cleveland police. Well, it says Kurt's body was found amid puddles and trash about a mile back from Harvard. One tennis shoe was missing. Kurt's mother insisted that searchers had been in the area where Kurt's body was found Sunday, but that the body had not been there. Oh boy. Conspiracies now. He was a nice boy, Dorothy Sova said. I always knew where he was going. We pampered him. Besides his parents, Kurt is survived by 3 brothers, Kevin 22, Kenneth 21, and Keith 20. Okay, police were trying to reconstruct the last few hours of Eugene. So this is a different kid here. K-Bit, 13, of 5800 Gertrude Avenue, whose body was found yesterday at the base of a landfill cliff. Another youth saw the body at 11 a.m. as he cut through the landfill south of Arco Disposal Inc. at 77-2. Yeah, it's on Harvard again. Let's see where that is. Hold on a second. Yeah, so this one's over in this area, which is kind of close to where the apartments would have been that he had a party at, but another youth saw the body at 11 a.m. as he cut through the landfill south of Arco Disposal Inc. at 7720. The coroner's office reported that Eugene had a fracture at the base of his skull and cuts, bruises consistent with a fall A ruling on the death will be made later. Hey, thank you, Carly Levine. Hey, not too bad, not too bad. How are you doing? How you doing? Let's see. Eugene was a 7th grader at Central Junior High School. Alan said he was last seen by his mother, Joan Welsh, about 8 a.m. Monday when he left for school. She reported him missing to police. A neighbor, Cecilia Gailey of 5715 Gertrude Avenue, said Eugene caught the bus Monday. What is it? This is... Oh, this is 4 months later. So this is 4 months after Kurt Sova. Okay. A neighbor, Cecilia Gailey, 5715 Gertrude. So it's in February 1982, this other person here. Eugene caught the bus Monday at East 57th Street and Fleet Avenue for school, but didn't get to school according to what Kett family told her. I wonder how you pronounce that one. Probably Quebec, if we go with the same logic as that other name earlier. Eugene had a mild case of muscular dystrophy, Gailey said. She said she last saw the boy Sunday shoveling snow for a neighbor. I said to my brother, for a skinny kid, he sure knows how to handle a shovel. A similar disappearance occurred October 23rd when Kurt Sova, 17, vanished. Kurt, a senior at South High School, lived about 7 blocks from Eugene. Interesting. His body, showing no obvious signs of violence, was found 5 days later. Well, maybe he died from the alcohol, right? In a rocky area behind the 3200 block of Harvard Avenue. Newburgh Heights police said yesterday that Kurt had been drunk, and Newburgh Heights, let's see, Kurt Sova. Newburgh Heights police said yesterday that Kurt had been drunk and died of natural causes. Well, he's listed as a homicide today, so they must have changed that around. Or maybe they're saying he was forced to drink. I don't know, but I think it's interesting that it's still listed as a homicide. You know, so whatever that police officer said doesn't seem to be the case, right? Gailey called Eugene's death frightening. This is the second one from this neighborhood, she said. So that's him right there. He's 5'11", really skinny apparently, 136 pounds. On the night of Friday, October 23rd, 1981, 17-year-old Kurt Sova was last seen at a party with friends. He left the party that night and wasn't seen again by his family. His body was found 5 days later in a ravine just 500 feet from where he was last seen at the party. See, now it's like, that doesn't even match any of the stuff that's been in these articles. You know? Man. And it does say up here, unsolved homicide. So that was the story of Kurt Sova. It'd be interesting to see why they continue to look into it, if they think he just... I mean, to me it seems like it's very possible that he did wander off after drinking 190 proof, and because it was, you know, October, it's probably pretty cold outside, and maybe he just sort of died at night, right? You know, it's late October too. All right. So now we're moving on to the next one. Rosemary Rosa Legger. Is there a picture of her? Okay, here's a picture of her right there. And this is February 18th, 1982. This article, the cases, she went missing on the 17th. And here's another teacher case. Or she was a teacher. A former 4th grade teacher who took a temporary job as a waitress in a disco to help support her unemployed husband and son was found shot to death yesterday morning near the Southland Shopping Center in Middleburg Heights. So this is where they lived, in these apartments right here. Rosemary H. Lager, 29, of 11883 Pearl Road, Strongsville, was found in the back seat of her white 4-door 1981 Toyota Corolla. Shot once. This one sounds so similar to some of these other cases we've talked about over the years, you know. Was found in the back seat of her white 4-door 1981 Toyota Corolla, shot once in the back of the head, said Middlebury Heights Police Sergeant William D. Wilkins. It's weird that she's in the back seat, shot in the back of the head. He said police found her body at 7:30 a.m., 5 hours after she left Bojangles Disco at 13409 Smith Road. And so this is where Bojangles, where she worked. I think we've had another case with a place called Bojangles. I think that was in... Actually, I think that was part of the Doodler case. I think it was a gay bar called Bojangles. Anyways, this is where she worked right here. They found her body at 7:30 a.m., 5 hours after she left Bojangles Disco. Dr. Lester Adelson, Chief Deputy Coroner, said she was found nude below the waist, and tests will be made to determine if Lager had been sexually abused. Well, of course she was. Strongsville police were alerted to her disappearance when her husband, James D., 28, called police when his usually punctual wife did not return home at 3 a.m. So that's when she would have got off work at Bojangles. She had started work at 8:30 p.m. Tuesday. Ladies' night. So it was a ladies' night. Wilkins said the bar was featuring male dancers and was very crowded. Wilkins said her body was found in a parking lot behind the disco. So that's why I placed the... that's the parking lot behind the disco. Who knows what stall, it was in, but she didn't go anywhere. She was right here, and then she was in her car, naked from the waist down, with a bullet in the back of her head. So I think she was in the car, assaulted while alive, and then at the end shot her so that the person wouldn't be able to identify her. And the rolled up windows kept anybody from hearing anything. Although, it's weird too, because it's so late at night. It must have been like everybody's gone and she was closing it down. And if you look around, there's nobody going to be around at that time of night. Look at the distance. It's pretty, desolate, to use a term, for a city area, right? Who was it that said desolate a long time ago? I can't remember that. He did not know if she had driven from the spot and returned, or if she'd never left. I don't think she ever left. That wouldn't make any sense. A Bojangles employee told Leaguer's husband on the phone that she might have gone to breakfast with other employees. Well, maybe. Married for 19 months, the Leaguers have a 7-month-old son, Andrew. She taught at St. Joseph Catholic School at 12580 Pearl Road until shortly before she had her baby in June 1981. She had planned to return to teaching this September. She began waitressing in January after her husband was laid off from his job at Yellow Freight Trucking Company. We were a little bit hard-pressed financially, Leaguer said. Okay, that was on the 18th, that article. Then there's this one. This was sort of part of a bigger article. I just grabbed it out of there. The Cleveland suburb of Middleburg Heights are investigating whether a 29-year-old woman found dead in her car was sexually attacked. Rosemary H. Leger of Strongville, who was found Wednesday, shot in the back of her head, was nude from the waist down. Her body was discovered 5 hours after she left her job at Bojangles Disco. The car was parked behind the building. Miss Leger taught at St. Joseph Catholic School until shortly before her first child was born. She had planned to resume teaching later. Okay. And then this is the last article. This one was on the 25th, 6 days later. The Cuyahoga County Police Chiefs Association will offer up to $1,500 for information leading to the arrest and conviction of the killer of Rosemary Leger, who was found shot to death in the parking lot of a popular area nightclub on February 17th. The reward will be offered beginning next week, according to Detective Bill Wilkins, who is heading the investigation into the woman's death. The reward will be valid for an indefinite time. Okay. Miss Leger, 29, of Strongville, was shot once in the back of the head with a .38 caliber revolver. Her purse and wedding rings were missing. That's interesting. But police have still not determined if robbery was the sole motive in the slaying. Well, of course it wasn't, okay? I mean, even if you say she wasn't technically assaulted, something may have gone haywire. There'd be no reason for her not to have her pants on and be naked from the waist down, unless that was part of the motivation, okay? We're still trying to talk to some people who were around the bar that night. We're reasonably sure someone saw something, but no one's come forward or admitted to having seen anything. She was found by police in her car in the parking lot of the Bojangles Disco at 13409 Smith Road, some 5 hours after the night spot closed at 2:30 a.m. She had worked at the club as a waitress for a month. Although she was partially nude, she had not been sexually molested, police said. Cuyahoga County Deputy Coroner Lester Adelson said the shooting, in all possibility, took place at the woman's car. Miss Leger was reported missing by her husband after she did not return home from work. She had taken the job at Bojangles after taking a leave of absence. There's been nothing yet from that. Let's see. 7-month-old baby, police said. Police have also talked to residents of an apartment complex adjacent to the parking lot, but Wilkins said none of those interviews reported seeing or hearing anything. There's been nothing yet from that. If someone did see something, maybe they will come forward. Well, these are apartments right here. But that's on the other side. This is what I would say was well, maybe not. Let me go. Didn't they say the parking lot behind Bojangles? Here, let me just check something. Oh, yeah. So maybe the parking lot was like right back here, you know? Like that's where employees would park, right? I think they said that. Behind the building. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so that means she was parked right around in this area. Yeah, that's a pretty dodgy area, but yeah, man, right next to those apartments. Yeah, maybe this, whatever this is, if that's been there, you know, if the car was back here, you would definitely get blocked out. You wouldn't see a damn thing. Let me see what... Oh, wow. Wow, they actually drove there? You guys are nuts. Hey, look at Google Earth, man. So maybe they were parked right back here. You know, or even right there, I guess. But if you were parked here, for example, like let's say where this car is right here, forget it. I mean, you are absolutely isolated. No sound is going to go out. You know, maybe somebody over there might have seen something, but crazy. I always love it when the Google Earth people are on drugs, you know. Like, why in the hell would they drive down behind a building like this? Other than to help people like me out. Thank you. Victim was reported missing by her husband February 17th, 1982 at approximately 5:12. She was in turn found at approximately 7:32 hours inside her vehicle behind her place of employment, and she was dead from a gunshot wound to the head. Yeah. It's almost like, you know, it's weird too because it was women's night and they had the men dancers in there. You almost feel like somebody was pissed off, you know. Like they saw that their girl was in there and whatever, so then they just took it out on somebody. Or they just waited around for her to get off of work, walk back to her car, and then they probably forced her into the vehicle, maybe right when she was getting in. It's interesting that she was in the back seat, because that means she probably was... I don't think somebody would risk letting the person back out of the car. So to me it seems like the initial... She's about to get in the car, the person pulls out their gun or whatever. Yeah, obviously they had a gun. And said, get in the back seat. And they got in the back seat without saying a word. Then the doors were shut behind them. Then he does what he probably assaults her. Then he shoots her. It's not like she was about to get into her car and shut the door. And he goes, hey, get out. And then she gets out and then back into the back seat. That would be a little too much activity going on. All right. So now we're moving on to the last one. There's no more information on that. I mean, we don't have a lot to go on, but it seems like another opportunistic killing. I wonder what, and we never figure out what the determination was if she was assaulted or not. You know, they would have to do a rape kit, and even if they found semen, they'd have to compare that with their husband, and then if there's another sample that's not her husband, and then you have the likely suspect. Okay, so this last one, another girl that looks like a Bundy type. Her name is Susan Denoma. And her case is a little bit more out there. Susan Denoma was a sports-loving, outgoing person and kept in touch with her Anderson High School friends who remember her as senior class treasure. They like police. They say have no. They like police. Say they have no idea who would have stabbed the office worker to death in her home. Cincinnati police said Friday that they have no suspects in the slaying of 25-year-old Mount Washington woman Miss Norma Mother. Miss Denoma's mother, Marjorie Founder. God, wow, that's just how it's all spread out here is hard to read. Let's see. Slaying of 25-year-old Mount Washington woman Miss Denoma's mother, Marjorie, found her daughter's body in bed after worried coworkers had called at the Denoma's Mount Carmel home. So her coworkers called her mom and said, "Hey, we haven't seen her." So mom went over and found her dead in the bed. Homicide detectives spent almost 7 hours at her 5490 Beachmont Avenue apartment Thursday afternoon, but said little about what they found. Police went to Miss Denoma's small, quiet apartment complex shortly after noon. Homicide Sergeant Paul Morgan refused to say whether Miss Denoma's apartment was ransacked, but he said officers found little sign of a struggle. He said there was no sign of forced entry. Her mother had to have had a caretaker let her in, he said. The place was locked up. The neighbors' accounts, Miss Denoma was a friendly, quiet person, one of the few singles in the apartment complex. She'd lived there for some time after she was divorced in 1980. Let's see, by neighbors' accounts, Miss Denoma's was a friendly, quiet person, one of the few singles in the apartment complex. Yeah, so she's only, she's only 25, so she got married and divorced. But she got divorced in 1980, and this is 1982, so it's not as likely to be, and no kid, so it doesn't sound like a situation where a ex-husband would be doing anything. Lieutenant Donald Beard, homicide commander, said her former husband voluntarily talked to police as soon as he heard about her death. I didn't know they were about to talk about that. He was very helpful and volunteered information, Beard said. There is no reason at this point to consider him a suspect. The couple has been married for a little over 2 years. After the divorce, she legally changed her name back to Miss Denoma. When she was married, Miss Denoma listed her occupation as social worker on her marriage license. She and her husband lived for a time in Walnut Hills. But a little more than 3 years ago, she took an office job with Cincinnati Millicron, working at the giant toolmaker's foundry, it says. I almost thought it said laundry. She had contacts there. Her father, Donald J., who has worked for the company more than 30 years. He is a maintenance foreman at the foundry. Miss Denoma kept up an active social life following her divorce. She played in local volleyball and softball leagues, and almost weekly would play racquetball with friends at a local fitness center. After a game or on dates, she would often stop at the East End Cafe. Hold on, let me get to the... So I think she lived in... The address gave was right here, but I think that this might be the apartment she lived in, because the number's correct for that side of the street. So I'm kind of thinking she lived in these. See, that's an odd number over here. So I think she lived in these. And then the cafe that she would go to is... Alright, hold on. So she lived lived right there. And the cafe was just right over here, so it's not far. After, you know, so they would go there after they played games, and then she was neat, one worker there said. A fine person. I can't believe it happened. Miss Sonoma was a 1975 graduate of Anderson Music and Sports. Were her hobbies. She sang in girls' chorus and mixed chorus and was a varsity volleyball player. What time is it? Maybe I'll do this one tomorrow. Yeah. This one's a little bit longer, and I'll just add it into the show tomorrow, and I'll remove it from the name. Susan Denoma. Nah. It's just been on her a long time. At least way over. Let's see. I started at 7:30, almost 3 hours, anyways. Hasn't been really worth it, so gotta. Get a start up tomorrow with the longer story. Alright. Sorry the computer crashed for a while there. Thanks, Amy. There it is. Thank you. On PayPal there. Yeah, I just checked my email. There's about 3 more, 2 emails. Oh, hey, did you see this video on the bridge guy? It's insane. God, give me a break. Anyways, we'll go over this one tomorrow. But she kind of reminds me of the girl that was in one of the first stories. Which one was it? Cain, maybe? Is that the one? Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty weird. And so they're only 7 months apart, right? Hey, there's Joshua Long. People were actually wondering where the hell you've been. Yeah, I wonder if those are... Yeah, I'll go check, see if there's any similarities in those 2 stories. Well, that's the one she's walking home with the friends. Thank you, Juju Positive. Alright, I'm going to get the hell out of here. Thank you guys for showing up tonight. It's been about 2 hours and 45 minutes. Did have the breakdown on the computer there. But this one's a little bit longer and it would go on. This one might take a little bit of time. So I'll try to find a few other longer ones and then we'll use those ones for tomorrow. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Thanks, Amy and Juju Positive. So anyways, in the meantime, everybody make sure that you... Oh, it's your birthday tomorrow. All right. We'll have to sing it tomorrow because it's not tomorrow yet. For some of you, it's tomorrow. All right.
Yeah, I want to sing that one.
Oh, okay. Well, hopefully see you around, you guys. It's tomorrow for Carly Levine.
Been working a lot, miss your shows, buddy.
Awesome. Yeah, I'll do it tomorrow. You'll just have to remind me really quick. Go look it. Just type in look at about 50 times, like you guys always do. And so, yeah, so make sure that you wash your hands, maintain your social distancing, and, wear your mask. And for those of you who want to, who, yeah, when that vaccine comes out, man, you go get the damn thing, all right? Don't hesitate. If they go, hey, today we're, boom, get the hell over there, all right? Maybe I'll do a flyby just for Juju Positive. I know she likes these.
See that, Gray? I flew right through there. Century modern leader. Oh boy. greatest show in the history of the world, don't you think?
Oh boy, here we go again. Here we go again. Yeah, it was okay. It was alright. Yeah, well, at least, he's covering those cases. They're not as sexy, people aren't as interested in those, but, at least he's getting those cases out there.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's really neat. I wish other people were just more excited about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know exactly what you're saying.
What do you think, Ray?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. So anyways, you guys, make sure that you are, maintaining your social distancing, all that kind of stuff. Wash your hands, wear your mask. And as I always say, everybody, until next time, be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, flag rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gray is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Full deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector. On
You said and too fast.
all respect,
I know, you idiot.
just remember I've a temper fucking checker.
I have no agenda. What agenda?
And I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. Alright, everybody? Talk to you.
Okay, alright, everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show. Okay, bye.
safe out